Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Love is Blind Germany Season 2, Episodes 5 and 6. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. So, getting some sleep did help a few couples. We have Loanne and Jan, who are a little more than friends now. Still friends, but just like a smidge, just like a little level above that. They are a little more touchy-feely. They're giggling in bed. I honestly thought that they weren't going to sleep in the same bed. But for the both of them, attraction still needs to be worked on. In my opinion, I feel like Loanne is a lot more willing to work on things than Jan is. He's just very in his head. And honestly, it's crazy because the guy who was in the pause, who was constantly yearning for reassurance, is not very reassuring himself. I'll talk more about that like later in the episode, but he doesn't seem to be able to give what he is requiring his partner to give him. And that's a problem. But then we also have Josie and Gunnar. They are getting very affectionate now with each other, which is good. Eventually, like down the line, they end up having sex. This is after they move into their apartments. So the physical aspect is going well. The issue is Josie feels like she might hurt Gunnar's feelings if ever she's in her mood where she just wants space and maybe he's not properly assessing the situation. My only question with that is, how could she be framing it that it would hurt him, you know? Because number one, there's a way to express yourself without hurting the person's feelings. And number two, it kind of feels like you're priming him for the inevitable. And I'll throw in a third thing there. She already sees him as weak. She's claiming she changed her mind on that, but she already put it out there that his masculinity is not where she wants it to be. So is this a part of that? Like, oh, if I'm authentically myself, which is a bit more headstrong, a bit more masculine, let's just use that word for the sake of the conversation, will you be able to take that because you're not as masculine as I want you to be, and therefore I am going to hurt your feelings? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Anyways, a couple who is not doing well at all is Wendy and Gabrielle. So they are still struggling when it comes to the physical affection, but that is not stopping Wendy from making some advances. She's trying to flirt with the man. He's not picking up what she's putting down. She even suggests that they take a shower together. And sure enough, they do. And even in the nude with water running in a beautiful scenic area, he still is not getting riled up over this girl. And I'm like, nah. Like, at this point, I don't know what she's supposed to do. I don't know what that whole facade was at the reveal, because it did seem like he was into her, but now all of a sudden things have changed. Like, I don't understand. So he says that he just needs to take things slow. He's afraid of the expectations that she had and him not being able to measure up to that. Feels like a cop-out to me. Wendy is definitely taking note of this change in Gabrielle, and she's trying not to let those thoughts fester, but you have absolute right to be skeptical of this man. When the couples all meet up, it is glaringly obvious which couples are thriving and which ones are suffering, one of them being Jan and Loanne at this point in the process, right? So Constantine is asking Jan, yo, what's going on? And this man can't fake the funk to save his life. He's like, yeah, it's just not there for me, what, right? So this is a problem because, like I said, he's the same man who was looking for a lot of reassurance, where now when he is supposed to be reassuring his partner, he's also unable to do so. So it seems like he was ready to receive, and not necessarily give. So later on, Loanne actually tells him point blank, listen, I'm really starting to read into things, and I don't think that's fair to me, because you are telling me one thing but showing me another thing, and because your actions and your words aren't aligning, I'm now left in the dark, and I'm trying to connect with you, but it's becoming harder and harder. He in turn says, I had a vision of how this would go, and unfortunately it's not matching up with my dream. That's a big problem. I don't know if this guy's like super idealistic or something, but even the fact that he's like, oh, all my relationships turn into friendships and I'm just the nice guy who gets overlooked and stuff. Are you really? Or do you romanticize things to the point where if it is not this picture perfect scenario, you self-sabotage? Because that's what it feels like is going on here. Like, because she didn't match exactly what you had dreamt of, you're now not giving 100%. You can still give 100%, Things don't work out, then fine. At least you can say you tried. Are you even trying? And that's a problem too with having these high expectations. There's nothing wrong with expecting certain things, having a vision of how things will go, but too many high expectations leads to a lot of disappointment. Then we have Gabrielle. This man walks in with a fine babe. A fine babe. And all he could think about is Constantine and the scenery. Oh, I would be so hurt. Literally, Wendy is hearing him be so excited to be with Constantine again. And she's like, oh, you got your Consti back. You got your Consti back. She's obviously irritated at the fact that he's a lot more excited about these other things than the fact that he's supposed to be in this honeymoon phase with his fiance, right? So the couples are raving about how things are going in their relationships, and obviously Gabrielle and Wendy cannot hide the fact that things aren't going well. Gabrielle is staring off into the distance. He's like, bruh, this is great for y'all, but it's just not going well for me. Thank God it wasn't a situation of him pining over Josie. He did actually have a conversation with Josie, and Josie was sad because Wendy is sad. She had the conversation. Yeah, I think it was Josie, Wendy, and Jesse. And Wendy started to cry. And she's like, this is not what I imagined. Like, I've been in a situation where I haven't been somebody's number one, and that's not a good feeling. That's why I've been single for so long, or at least I haven't been in a serious relationship. It's because men don't take me seriously. And here's Gabrielle doing the same thing again. So she's getting emotional. And of course, on her behalf, Josie is feeling emotional. She does not want Gabrielle to play around with her, and she encourages him to be honest with his feelings, right? So later, Gabrielle and Wendy have a conversation, and he says, the pressure of the experiment is getting to him. He just didn't realize it was going to be so heavy so quickly. I understand that, okay, being thrust into this like microwave relationship, all the cameras, away from home, away from your vices and all that stuff, it can be a lot, but the disconnect that I have when people say that is you had a responsibility to be authentic to the person who you're now connecting to, because you don't know how hard they're falling for you, right? So for you, you might just be saying things to go along, to get along, but this person is actually developing real feelings for you. And now when we're in the real world, you're just going to say, oh, sorry, it's the pressure. No, I fell for you. Like, I put my heart on the line. I put my life on pause. I was ready to get married to you, and you're just going to cite pressure. It's not even going to be, oh, there were incompatibilities that we didn't realize, or, you know, certain things that you didn't account for, but you're telling me at the core, this relationship that I put work into building is not working, not because we're not compatible, but because, oh, it's the pressure. She's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to need to mull over these feelings, because to be honest, I'm starting to get angry. And sure enough, the next morning, she lets him know, I'm incredibly frustrated with you. I don't deserve to be treated like a second option. And you can have this ring. I'm leaving. And I'm glad she did, because I'm so tired of people going on Love is Blind and letting the other person decide their fate. If you are not feeling it with this person anymore, call it quits. Yes, there is time to want to invest in the relationship, but when the person is not trying, you need to stop trying too. He also tried to say, sometimes you meet the right person at the wrong time. You literally were second guessing this woman at every turn in the pods. It was only when your number one chose to go somewhere else that you locked in on this girl. But if it was up to you, you would have chosen Josie. Based on the conversations we got to see, he would have chosen Josie. So don't try to make it seem like, no, you're a great option. You would have been my person. We're just not at the right place right now. No, you were not considering this girl until she was your only option. Someone else who's starting to feel the pressure is Andy. He is thinking, damn, this wedding day is coming fast. And I'm sorry. When they use that excuse, I never buy it, because you know what Love is Blind is at this point. Yeah? This is not season 1, not even season 2 or 3, where I'll give you a pass. This is, well, season 2 of Germany, but the show has been out for so long. They tell you what the show is about. when you apply. And the application process isn't just you submit an application and you're approved. There are steps to this. Sometimes it takes months. You had time to realize this is an expedited process. Am I ready for that? Yes or no? So being like, oh, the wedding date is just coming so fast. Big whoop. You knew that, right? So Yasmin is having issues with Andy because she feels like he is not voicing his opinion, right? Like he's trying to keep things cookie cutter when obviously he's worried about stuff and he's just not sharing. He actually shares that he has been voicing his concerns to his boys. And she's like, well, I'm your partner, so why can't you say that to me? And then to make matters worse, she feels like whenever he is trying to be flattering, it's very performative. She feels like he's laying it on thick and he's just trying to seem like he's the perfect guy, and it's coming across forced to her. He says he had been in a relationship in the past where he would just tell the woman whatever she wanted to hear, so he's not going to do that ever again. He sees that that doesn't lead them anywhere, but I don't buy it at all. Like, I think that he is definitely trying to sell this woman a dream. I don't know for what reason. He's definitely going to have to work on being emotionally vulnerable because we saw that issue in the pods as well. He could not face hard conversations, Yasmin, as you know. Instead, he'd rather hide behind, a lovely letter. Like, the man was performative even from the pods. Gunnar is realizing that his feelings are quickly growing and he wants to initiate this conversation of whether or not they are in love, right? Josie starts to clam up immediately. She does not like this conversation at all. She doesn't like being very emotionally naked, right? So he can tell she's hesitant, but he says, I love you anyways. And at first, she didn't want to respond. She was just kissing him and she's like, oh, that's all I have to say. But then she does say, I love you too, and then swiftly changes the topic. She does not want to have that conversation. So Gunnar is aware that she does struggle with emotions. She's emotionally constipated, it seems like. But that's going to be an issue. I hope in time she'll be able to open up more, because in a marriage, you're going to have to be vulnerable. You're going to have to be open. You're going to have to be candid. You're going to have to, we have to talk about our emotions, not all the time. But when we're having that conversation, you can't just be like, okay, yeah, I love you too. Next thing. No, ma'am. Jesse and Constantine revisit this smoking conversation. So initially he was making it seem like he's okay with it for now. He'll put up with it for now. But the more that he has to kiss her after like a workout or something and she smells like smoke or tastes like smoke, he's like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. She gets irritated because she told him that she smokes and she's wondering why now this is an issue for him. And I will say, I will give her that one, right? And as much as he's valid for saying, listen, I have my reasons for why I don't like smoking, and at least I'm telling you right now. She says in the past, people would say they had an issue later down the line, and she is always confused because that was something that they knew beforehand. So I'll give him the credit for saying it early on, but she also said it early on. So how are you going to turn this thing on her when she told you what it was? She literally said, I'm a chimney. I'm a chimney. And the only thing that's going to stop me is if I get pregnant. What made you think that, she's not going to smoke as frequently as what? He suspects that she smokes 40 cigarettes a day. One cigarette a day would piss me right off. You telling me you were going to fake the funk for 40? No. No. So she gets irritated. She walks away to go and vape. And I'm thinking, Constantine, you're going to have to be honest. If this is an absolute deal breaker for you, then you got to say that. Clearly, the smoking is not the worst thing in the world, because later on they did have a conversation about whether or not they've had sex, loveless sex or sex with love. And they both say that they prefer having sex with somebody that they love. So they're kind of tiptoeing around the I love you. They haven't said it to each other, but the implication is the reason why sex between them is good is because those feelings of love are present, right? Later on, when all the couples move in, they are the first to visit each other's home. He wasn't too fond of where she lives, right? And again, Constantine, I'm confused, because in the pods, he cited that they were both country people and he loved that commonality between them. Now he has a problem with the fact that she lives in the country. He's like, yeah, I'm a big city guy. I like the hustle and bustle of it all. And I don't think that I can be comfortable on the countryside. But you knew that. Like it looks like their agreement is that at the beginning he would be staying with her and he knew that she lived in the country, so why not? This might be moving the goalposts, and I don't know how I feel about that. Then they are the first to also do the family and friends meeting. He actually got the blessing from the father, which is great, but her friends are skeptical of him. They feel like maybe things will change over time. Like this is just the honeymoon phase, and right now, Jesse has her rose-colored glasses on. She's convinced that they don't disagree on anything, which, number one, is not true. And number two, could actually be seen as a red flag because you're telling me you agree on every single aspect in life. Every single one. I actually think it's important to be with somebody who challenges you because that's where you grow. So yeah, I was like, I don't think that that's as good as you think it is. That's number one. But also number two, it's not true. Like, there are things you guys disagree on. Maybe you're just not paying attention. Last, we have Yasmin and Andy. So these two have a little bit of a heated conversation. I almost said heated rivalry. Oh, have you guys been watching? So good. Not for children. Okay. Wow. They have a heated conversation about finances. And so Andy is like, I think that we should have separate bank accounts. We can have a joint account, but we should also maintain our separate bank accounts. She is like, absolutely not. Okay. I believe in a marriage, we are supposed to have all our funds together, and you should trust me that I am not going to misappropriate funds. And then she's going to say, this is what proves to her that there is security in a relationship. So when she said she was looking for that security, it seems to be mainly financial, not the other stuff like emotional security, physical security. No, I want to make sure that that money is there, that I am provided for, and I can use that money as I please. So this is not a good note to leave the conversation on because they head over to the mixer where Dustin is present. So she wants to talk to Dustin, but Andy is spending all his time with Dustin and she's unable to just get a chance with him. So she's like, you know what? I'm just going to intercept the conversation. As she's having the conversation with Dustin, she initially was concerned that maybe some new feelings would be stirred up, right? Some old feelings, sorry. That old feelings would stir up after speaking to him, right? So he asks how things are going. She says, honestly, it's hard work. I don't know why you would want to say that your relationship is hard work, but go off, sis. She then says that she doesn't get authenticity from him and she feels like he's just very performative. Again, don't know why you would want to say this about the person you supposedly want to be with or to a person who you used to have a past with. Like there's no need for that. You don't need to know all of that. But anyways, before they could actually get into what they're feeling about each other, because I'm sure that's where the conversation was leading, here comes Andy just hovering, just being a monitoring spirit, okay? He asked if they need drinks, and at first it seemed like he went to go get the drinks. I'm not quite remembering. I think he went to get the drinks, but then he asked her again if she needs a drink, and she's like, okay, I think you're a little bit tipsy here, or you're drunk, like what's going on? But he's accusing her of being drunk, and then he's trying to listen in on the conversation because he's still hovering around. And then ultimately he just joins the conversation and he's talking about how great things are going. That jealousy that I knew was going to show up is in full display. I don't know how ugly things could get, but this is already a sign that, yeah, jealousy is a problem for this guy. He might not want to make it seem like he's a jealous guy, but he is a jealous guy. The only reason why I'll kind of give Yasmin a pass on not noting the jealousy thing is because he had this conversation with somebody else. But if the women were doing a little bit more recon, maybe she would have found this out. Or if she would have seen how he interacted with the other women, maybe he has an issue with boundaries, whether it's establishing them or adhering to them or being authentic, being honest. Like, I think the things that she's struggling with now regarding this man, there were little hints of that beforehand that she just wasn't noting enough for me. But yeah, we'll see what the aftermath of this conversation is. It seems like she's not happy with how he's interacting with her. So there could be some fallout, or maybe he'll redeem himself. Who knows? So that's it for me. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.